All right, so we've caught up with Daniel Erickson here from BioWare to find out a little bit what's going on with the Old Republic. Obviously, it's not one of those games where you ship it and it's done. And you revealed some new features that you're adding to the experience. Can you just walk us through briefly what's being added?
Wow, it's a big list. So in the immediate future, we've got 1.3 coming, and that's bringing Group Finder, that's bringing Adaptive Gear, which pretty much lets you take any of the social gear and go play it however you want, no matter whether you're a heavy armor guy or any of the other stuff. Coming right after, we've got a new operation, which is Terror from Beyond, which is a station, totally new area, new art, beautiful stuff. The biggest boss monster we've ever fought, and the crazy creature going in the middle of the hyper-dimensional whatever insane fight that you guys got to see. We've got HK51 coming, which is a new companion character. Huge quest line around getting that. It's not just, hey, here's a companion character. It is a piece of the legacy system, so there's a massive quest line that's going to take you across both sides of the factions and involves some real work to get HK. There is a new Warzone coming, which is also fantastic and has whole new gameplay stuff. It's our first Warzone where we're actually doing points for kills as well as objectives, so really changing up and shaking up the way people are playing. And then we announced an entirely new planet. So Makeb is our first, hey, here's a full story planet like you're used to. This is the return to what we always talked about, like, let's do the Eternal RPG. We're going to keep the story going. It's really focused and tight. It is much, we've learned a lot about what worked and what didn't from storytelling from the different stuff we did. It's a lot more like the early sort of Origin Worlds experience as far as really high production value, only a couple of quests that you're really concentrating at one time, big AAA epic BioWare style storytelling, and a whole new planet for it.
So speaking of all this new content that's coming out, how much of it is a reaction to what the player feedback has been, and how much has been a sort of a roadmap that you've always had in mind with the game, and sort of how much flexibility is there?
There's a lot of flexibility. It basically comes down to content is a roadmap. We've got a long, deep progression that we've got to go through for writing and VO, all of that stuff. Features and systems, very community driven. Became very clear very quickly that because we had built a game, not only that people played faster than they played normal games, people were doing 6 and 7 hour gaming sessions, flying through the content, but also because we had made the game extremely mobile. We'd given you the ability to move around between areas very easily. We'd made it so you never had to stay still to do your crew skills, right? You never had a time where everybody needed to be somewhere central and stand there, which meant that Group Finder became much more important, much faster in ours, as the groups of players spread to the winds and nobody wanted to sit still and try to build a group. So as the group say, hey, we've got a problem with this. Hey, we're gonna need guild banks. Hey, we're gonna need this, and we're gonna need it faster than you might have thought we would. We can pivot pretty fast and say, okay, with the different strike teams and the different groups that are going, you guys, you're next, get on board. You guys keep working on this thing in the background.
So you obviously launched too, you got a big group of people who came into the game. You've lost some players, and of course the MMO community always keen to sort of doom and gloom and sort of say this game it's dead, it's not going anywhere. So how do you feel about sort of the health of the game right now, and what do you feel like? What's going on right now with the player base?
So we had the biggest launch in MMO history, and we are the second biggest population in MMO history, and by an enormous amount. So you take it all with a grain of salt. We've got a huge amount of people playing the game, enjoying the game, and a ton of stuff coming through to support those people, and which I think is going to energize and get them excited.
One of the things that I love about Star Wars, obviously, and something that BioWare are very good at, is the sort of the worlds that you build. And the new planet, Makeb, can you tell us a little bit about what that planet's role is and what kind of experience it will bring?
Yeah, so Makeb is, it's almost intermission between Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. There's a power vacuum, and the Hutts are stepping into it. They're doing some pretty nefarious things, and both sides are going to go down there. and really take a point of view that, let's just say both the Republic and the Imperial storylines are different sorts of storylines for them. The Empire is trying to hold its ground and kind of find its feet after the no spoilers, let's say the end events of Chapter 3, and the Republic is becoming newly aggressive and realizing that, maybe it really is if you're not with us, you're against us. And so both sides come in testing out sort of their new roles in the galaxy and then going into just a beautiful world that is built and structured unlike anything we've ever done, with a ton of new gameplay. So the world design team, Brad Prince's team, has gone and all they've been doing since we launched is figuring out new styles of gameplay. You guys got to see a little bit of it in the Heroic Quest today that you sat down and did, but Makeb is a show-off piece for it. So very different ways of doing quests, very different feels, very different structure and world building. And the combat team has come in as well and said, hey, you know what? We're basically saying 50 is endgame, even if you're still leveling, which means you need to know how to fight. You need to know how to do your character. Just because you're out in the open world does not mean that you're going to cakewalk.
So I'm fairly much into the Star Wars universe, but I haven't heard of the planet before. Is it a brand new planet that you've sort of created yourselves, or is there a connection in Star Wars lore?
Makeb is a brand new planet. We kind of go back and forth between the different ones. We say like, okay, here sometimes we take a planet that is that's really nothing more than a name and a short description. Like Voss, I think, had like one sentence that had been written. Obviously, a lot of the times we'll do sort of the core planets, and sometimes we just want to roll something up from nothing and say, hey, we've got an idea, we've got an image in our head, can we do this? And this was really a combination of the writers sitting down and having a story they wanted to tell, and the world designers and the world artists saying, hey, what would be crazy to try to build, which is this amazing world of basically enormous, hundreds of foot high, tiny islands sort of floating in the sky. And we're still finishing tweaking our mapping technology to be able to even understand how we built the levels, but
I think that's a good thing to have done before your launch.
Yes, but it's a lot of fun right now.
So the things you're talking about here at E3, are we talking about within the next 6 months, or when should people expect to see it?
We can safely say it's all this year.
And speak ahead of that, is this going to be the way you push out content with patches like this, or are you planning on a bigger expansion, or is this something, this more of what you want to do?
We're not talking anything past this, and pretty well is nothing off the table. You also heard we're doing a new species, and right now we got a whole lot of teams working on cool content. So we're taking all of it as it rolls out and figuring out what the best way to bring out each piece is. What we're dedicated to as a premium service, as people are in that game and dedicating their time to it, is continually delivering new, awesome AAA content.
Right. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.